The North Atlantic floor is quiet, dark, and littered with debris. Treating this wreckage like a crime scene, a specific, preventable pattern of failure emerges. In 1912, the RMS Titanic was hailed as the absolute pinnacle of human engineering. The ship dwarfed the people who built it. As it prepared to leave dock, public confidence in its structural integrity was absolute. Yet, 4 days into its maiden voyage, the Titanic tore open and vanished beneath the waves, taking over 1,500 lives with it. The accepted narrative focuses on the ice in the water. However, the physical impact alone is an incomplete piece of evidence. The investigation suggests a much deeper failure. It points toward a system of human judgment that broke down long before the ship reached the ice fields. To piece together why this vessel failed, we have to examine the specific choices that put it on a collision course with reality. The timeline of April 14th begins in the ship's telegraph room. Throughout the day, the crew received multiple warnings from other ships about dense ice fields ahead. They cataloged the messages, but treated them as routine information rather than immediate threats. Despite knowing they were navigating directly into a hazardous zone, the crew maintained a high, near top speed through the freezing water. At 11:40 p.m., lookouts spotted a massive shape dead ahead. They rang the warning bell, but at that velocity, the reaction window had already closed. The Titanic did not hit the ice head-on. The helmsman attempted to turn, resulting in a prolonged, devastating scrape along the starboard side. This schematic reveals the engineering failure. The glancing blow popped the rivets along the hull, opening multiple watertight compartments to the sea all at once. Because those compartments were only capped at a certain height, the flood added enough weight to tip the bow downward. The water simply spilled over the bulkheads into the next section, guaranteeing the ship would be pulled under. This solitary mass of ice delivered the strike, but nature only exploited the conditions created by a reckless crew for basic safety protocols. While the lower levels flooded, the focus shifts to the psychological reality setting in for the passengers on the upper decks. As they gathered to evacuate, the investigation turns to the lifeboat davits lining the deck. The evacuation was limited by mathematics. There were over 2,200 people on board, but the ship carried lifeboat seating for only half of them. The ship's designers believed the hull was virtually incapable of sinking. They treated lifeboats as an aesthetic distraction that cluttered the promenade decks. Panic rippled through the freezing air as officers enforced strict boarding rules, forcing families to separate and leaving hundreds facing impossible choices. In a surreal attempt to maintain calm, the ship's band continued playing music on the slanting deck until the very end. After nearly 3 hours, the giant ship vanished. The few who secured a seat in a lifeboat were left floating in the freezing dark, listening to the cries of those left behind. This loss of life was a direct consequence of institutional pride. Safety was sacrificed to maintain the appearance of luxury. By morning, the public awoke to the news. The headlines confirmed a massive death toll. Intense legal scrutiny followed. In formal hearings on both sides of the Atlantic, investigators demanded to know why a state-of-the-art vessel failed so completely. The resulting outrage forced permanent changes to maritime law. From then on, every passenger vessel was legally required to carry a lifeboat seat for every single person on board. Ships were also mandated to maintain continuous radio monitoring, and an international patrol was established to track icebergs in shipping lanes. Today, the grand ambitions of 1912 sit silently at the bottom of the ocean, slowly decaying into the silt. The wreckage continues to fascinate the world, capturing our collective imagination more than a century later. It stands as a permanent monument to the danger of a mindset that believes any structure is beyond failure. The freezing water caused the deaths, but the investigation proves it was human arrogance that put the passengers in the path of the ice.